Hey everybody, Andrew here on Pacific Coast Auto, taking a look at round one of the current auction picks contest. The rules for this contest are going to be the same as the one we did last year. The winner is going to be the person whose guess is closest to the actual selling price of the vehicle by percent. So if you're picking a more expensive vehicle, you have a little more wiggle room, and for cheaper vehicles, you'll need to be much better with your guesses. So it's not dollar amount or yen amount, it's how close you are as a percent of the final selling price. So the vehicle has to sell. We had a few this week that didn't sell, so try again next time. Up first was Sean William Bellamy with the Honda Insight. He guessed 4,170 and the car sold for 580. That means his guess was 719% of the final selling price. Not too close. For Bill Courtney in his Toyota Mark II, he guessed 930 and the car sold for 810, making his guess 115% of the selling price, 15% off. Not bad. Glenn McCurdy's Toyota MRS was unsold, only having been bid up to 1,110. That one's not going to count for the contest, so better luck in round two, Glenn. Rhea Davino's guess on the Toyota Aristo was pretty good. He guessed 6,020 and it sold for 6,960. That means his guess was 86% of the final selling price. So that's only 14% off, meaning he beat Bill by just 1%. Redneck Hunter guessed 3,680 for the Subaru Impreza WRX. That one sold for 1,490, so his guess was 247% of the selling price. Yaomari Raipa Lima guessed 1,710 on the Toyota Celsior, but that one was unsold for 820, so he's out for this week. Ioni Esparza guessed $120 on the Nissan Caravan, but that one sold for $1,520, making his guess 8% of the final selling price. Leslie Lee guessed $880 on the Toyota Corolla 11 BZR. That one sold for $670, so she was off by just 31%. Jose Ovalle guessed $30,000 for the R33 Skyline GTR. That one sold for $18,710, making his guess 160% of the selling price. Jefferson Paraiso guessed $930 on the Nissan Stagea, but that one sold for $360, so his guess was 258% of the selling price. Brian Chua guessed $3240 on the Subaru Impreza WRX, but that one went unsold after being bid up to $6,750. Finally, Derek Lubno guessed $5,090 for the Subaru Legacy Wagon, but that one was removed after having been bid up to $320, so unfortunately he's out. So that means after round one, Rhea Davino is our leader. His 86% guess put him 14% off the final selling price, so that's the mark to meet. Round two's coming up soon, so even if you hate Facebook, check our Facebook page, because that's the only way you're going to be able to get in a guess for round two. And that's going to do it for the round one contest results. Here's Derek with a normal run of auction picks.
Hey guys, now it's my turn. I'm Derek, and I'm going to go through how many do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks from Facebook. Thank you everyone who sends those in. Also about the contest, we got, so last week we had the video go up. It's a contest. You can win cool stuff from Japan. And if you missed that last week, this is a two-parter. And so actually two videos. The winner from whichever of those two videos guesses the closest auction price to the actual selling price of the car, then you win that box of goodies. And so you still have a chance. I think that the closest one right now is 14% away from the purchase price. And so that's really good, but last time we did this, I think we were like 2 or 3% off. And so there's still a big chance for you to get in on this. Check out our Facebook next week, and that's when we're going to be putting up the details for that. Okay, so let's jump into the first one here. This is our thumbnail pick. It's an FD. That's the one that's going to get the clicks, because everyone likes the FDs, especially the ones with the non-retractable headlights, which is really odd because I love the retractable headlights, but for some reason the car looks really good without them. So I'm torn. It's like my mind is wanting two things at the same time that can't get together. It's a Romeo and Juliet in my mind at the moment. Okay, so let's take a look at the condition of this one. Body-wise, it looks like it's been modified to look race car-ish. I think it's pretty good looks. I wouldn't go for all of these aero parts myself. I don't like the rear spoiler, I don't like the front bumper, and I don't like the side skirts, and I don't like the rear spats, and I don't like the wheels. I would give them all about a 6 out of 10, but if I'm going to be buying something for my own car, it's got to be a 10 out of 10 part. So it's not like any of this is necessarily bad, but it's just not the ones that I would pick. So this one was sent in from Jefferson Paraiso. Okay. And it's a 1999 Mazda RX-7 Type RB with a 5-speed manual. Has a rotary engine, which is 0.65 liters times 2. That's what they call it here. So basically a 1300cc. Twin turbo. Auction grade R, interior C. 101,122 kilometers on here. It's original pearl paint. That's cool. I think that color didn't come until later on in the RX-7s. When did the US stop getting the RX-7s? I think it was before Japan stopped. I think the last year in Japan was 2002. Maybe the last year in America is somewhere around 97? I'm not sure. But they got more power as they went on. The RB model is not the model with the super power. That's the RS model. Has the 280. This one will be a 250 or 260, somewhere in there. And let's read the translation, or read the sheet here. It comes with aftermarket push start. I'm just looking around the office to make sure somebody's setting our bid. I heard the bid alarm go off on the USS bidding system. Okay, keyless entry. Various aero parts are put onto it. Has the special type headlights that don't retract. What else do we got? This is the report. So these are the bad points of the car. So the battery is dead. And something here that I can't see. Something has been removed. But the writing there sucks. Even if you zoom it in, you wouldn't be able to read it very easily. So something has been removed. And then the core support. This one's been in an accident. That's why it's an R grade. Core support has been replaced. Right front side member has accident damage that has been repaired. Aftermarket steering wheel and shift knob. AC doesn't work. Adjustable suspension on it. Aftermarket door mirrors, air filter, and exhaust. Let's see. Wheels have corrosion on them and underside has surface rust and various modifications, so see the car in person for details. And it doesn't have the chassis plate on the car, which is a little bit weird. It'll still have the VIN number etched into the firewall. And you can get a chassis number replacement piece. You can order them. But it is weird that it's been replaced. So weird, in fact, that I don't want to bid on this car. And it's only a 6 out of 10 in terms of looks. And the spoiler is the worst of them all. This is my least favorite looking type of spoiler. The only time this spoiler looks good is when it's on a Porsche. The one that comes on the GT3 back in the late 90s. Late 90s? I think so. Okay, that's all for this RX-7. We're going to guess a price on this guy, and let's see. The later Model 1s sell for a lot more than the earlier Model 1s, but the ones that are US legal sell for more even than that. So I'm going to guess on this one, we'll see this at around 900,000 yen. Okay, on to the next one. Yoani Esparza sent in this. I hear these are not much in Japan. Is it true? This is a first generation Honda CRX. I used to think that these are uncool cars. I secretly laughed at somebody who wanted me to trade my 8.6, my wife's 8.6, for one of these. And he's like, what? They're both Japanese sports cars from the 80s. The CRX is even better than the 8.6. And I secretly laughed, because I'm not mean enough to actually laugh in that person's face. But these cars, for a very long time, held the record for the best fuel economy at 55 miles per gallon. Well, a special version of this, that was the high fuel economy version. I can't remember what it was called. It was like HF or something. Don't know. It had a 1500cc. So this one here is the 1600cc. This is the sports version, the SI. And I don't think these are cheap in Japan. I know the next model of these, the one that everybody loves, the EF9, they're like 600,000 to 1.4 million. So big money for those ones. Even bigger in Japan, I think, than a lot of other countries. But they're running out. This one, I think the price is less for it, but they're much, much, much rarer for this model. And so I would expect this one to be fairly expensive. So I'm going to guess a high number. It's a 1985 CRX SI. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I think that that's the final year of these ones. 86,188 kilometers. Purchased from user Ballad Sports. I don't know what that means. 5-speed manual transmission and first time at auction. And the report here says the regular stuff, the regular wear and the scratches on the wheels and the dirtiness and whatnot. And front inner panel has accident damage, grade RA. Oil leak, dashboard holes from modification, power steering doesn't work, rear spoiler paint peeling, rear hatch damper doesn't work, taillight's cracked, I wonder if those taillights are different from the US ones. Oftentimes the taillights are different between US and Japan, especially in the 80s, but I'm not sure if this one is the case. Headliner has scratches in it, seat saggy and rip, and winter tires on it. Kind of weird winter tires on this car. Various scratches and dents, front bumper cracked, and A4, that's a large scratch. Got a crack over here. And the rest, let's see, A3 is kind of big over here. But these are old, and they weren't really kept in good condition. A lot of the cars that are in good condition right now from the 80s were cars that people knew were going to be classics, but nobody thought that these were going to be classic cars, and so they just got used up and thrown out, basically. And now that so many of those cars have been thrown out, it leaves not many of them left. And now they've become, you know, at least a little bit more popular because of how unique and how rare they are, and how, you know, it's a CRX. People love that name. It's a first-gen CRX. Bet you haven't seen one of those. Price-wise, low mileage, pretty original, even down to the exhaust. I don't think these are the original wheels, but they don't look like original wheels. Original front lip. That's cool. Pop-up headlights. Yeah, it's a cool car. I do like it. It needs a little bit of love, but I like it. I'm going to guess on this one, 685,000 yen. Okay, and I may be off on that. It's a hard one to pick. On to the next one from Bill Courtney. He says, two-tone town ace. Say that 3 times real fast. Two-tone town ace, two-tone town ace, two-tone town ace. Probably not fast enough. With full lace dolly grandpa covers, stylin'. Okay, so here we go. The grandpa seat covers are in reference to a lace half seat cover, common in Japan, and kind of seen as a little bit nerdy but cool in the States when you have a JDM car with the official JDM seat covers that were too weird for the American market. I think nowadays people think that that's pretty cool. I picked this one out of the 3 that Bill sent in. The rule is you can only send in a maximum of 3, otherwise we spend all day sorting through cars. But the real reason I picked this is because it's a cooler van that people think that it is. You can get them in a 5-speed, or you can get them with an automatic. This one's an auto. But they come with a turbo diesel 2-liter inline 4-cylinder that sits underneath your seats. And a diesel minivan with a 5-speed and 2 sunroofs, it's really cool. And they're kind of quirky and cool looking too, by today's standards, even though a similar type van was available in the US. You can never get that one with the diesel engine. And so they have become something of a popular import in the States right now, mostly because of the diesel engine, but yeah, they're very JDM, and a lot of times they're in pretty good condition for some reason. I don't know why that is, especially because these are pretty similar vehicles to the Mitsubishi Delica, which is often in really dirty condition, whereas these are usually clean. So I wonder what it is that separates the buyer. Like, the people who drive this are clean, nice people, and the people who drive the Delica are cigarette smokers that spill drinks and don't clean it up. Okay, so condition-wise, it's a 1993 Town Ace Wagon Super Extra Turbo. 2000cc diesel, auction grade 3.5 with an interior C and an exterior D. 48,496 kilometers is nice and low, which is good. This diesel engine I think is a good engine, but it's pretty slow, and so it causes people to drive it really hard. And any engine that's driven really hard all the time is you know, you just have to be careful with it. First time at auction, it has exterior shallow scratches. This is actually a worse comment than it sounds like it is, because Toyota Paint in the late 80s, early 90s, they were experimenting with metallic paints, and some of them, it looks like scratches, but if you actually look at it, it's micro cracks underneath the clear coat, and you can't fix it without repainting it. And that might be the case on this car. Mercedes-Benz had a similar problem at about the same time. They're the only 2 manufacturers I've seen that from, though. So it's kind of weird. Okay, interior is dirty, steering wheel wear, headliner is dirty, and then apparently the body's pretty bad, so let's have a look here. We got medium scratches on the front bumper and front fender. That's the thing about these vans. I think a lot of them are owned by grandpas. And maybe that's why the seat covers are so popular in them. But they're owned by people who don't really... I guess they've gotten to the age where they don't care if they hit their car anymore. And so dents... Or maybe they're like, I can't shoulder check anymore. I've spent my life already. I'm okay if I crash this car. I've got enough money to buy another one. Something like that. But yeah, big dent over here. Big dent over here. medium dent there, big scratch here. A lot of times you see the corners of the vehicle scratched because they're like, I can make that turn, and then apparently they couldn't. So yeah, depth perception goes with age, I suppose. Cool vehicle. Prices are usually pretty good. They've gone up a bit as people in the US have started to notice them. But they still can be really reasonable. Sometimes they're cheap, sometimes they're really expensive. It really depends on who's bidding, and so it makes it difficult to pick the right bid amount. But for this one, I'm going to guess 380,000 yen, which, oh, that sounds high. I guess I'll go with it. But 380,000 yen for one of these is really high, actually. But we'll see. Low mileage, bad body. No. Andrew, you're going to have to remember this one because I'm lowering my cost. I usually don't do it if I say a price, but I'm going to do it this time. I'll go down to 220,000 yen on this one. We'll see about that. Okay, on to the next guy here from Jose Oval and Raymond Yu. Also sent in the same car, Porsche 911S, the Wagon Midnight Blackbird. Ooh, sort of, but not really. The Blackbird in Wagon Midnight was an RUF car, and it was based on the 930, and the actual name of that car was Yellowbird, even though they called it Blackbird because the color was black. And usually you can tell because they have, like RUF has very specific looking wheels. These would be the original wheels on this car, and they have a very unique looking front bumper that has a very small air intake here. A rectangular one that kind of pops out from the body. I guess it's for where an oil cooler goes, maybe? I don't really know why they had that body that looked like that. And I think the rear wing here is an RS style rear wing. Anyways, so let's see what we have on this one. We used to sell a lot of 911s from Japan, and Japan is still a great place to buy 911s from. But the price around the world has gone up, and so fewer people are wanting to buy them as there were about 10 years ago. Okay, so what do we have here? It's a 1986 Porsche 911. This is before the 964 generation. And it is a 2.7 liter. And so the smaller engine. Mileage is unknown, but odometer shows 11,683. Auction grade is 3, which is pretty low. Interior C. The body doesn't look terrible. Paint cracks on the back bumper here, or just cracks in general maybe. I'm not a big fan of the exhaust coming out at an angle like that, but these cars sound amazing with aftermarket exhaust. Got a dent over here, and a scuff over here, and a dent over here. It's not terrible. I mean, the good thing about 911s is that it doesn't matter what condition they're in, they're still worth something. You can still restore them. They're fairly easy to restore. And so if you get one that's in bad condition, it's not a complete write-off. Whereas with a lot of cars, like this one, if you get in bad condition, nobody's going to spend a lot of money to get that one back together. This one maybe, but you're right, you know, it is weird. You would spend money putting it back together, and that would be thrown out money because not enough people want it. RX-7s, yes, it's okay to get them in any condition. But the Porsche 911 is worldwide. It's the #1 car that people want, is the air-cooled Porsche 911s, and that's why the price is so high. This one, and this is pretty interesting, it says it has white smoke coming from the exhaust, but I wouldn't call that a problem on this car. I mean, it might be. You may need a rebuild, but here's the thing. It's an air-cooled, it doesn't have a radiator, and it doesn't have head gaskets that allow coolant into the cylinders that makes the white smoke. More than likely, that smoke is coming from oil that is being burnt, and that could be a couple of different things. It could be valve stem seals, or it could be bad compression. Porsche 911 engines are a little bit costly to rebuild, but if you want a project, and it'll drive the price down a lot, I think. I think most people are looking for a 911 that's ready to go without engine problems. So I think because this is a grade 3, and because it has smoke coming out of the exhaust, we're going to see a low price there. It has also had the full repaint with some paint wave and uneven paint on it. That's kind of a big deal on these because I've seen some pretty nasty repaints on 911s, and 911s retain more value than a regular car if it has good paint on it. Okay, aftermarket audio, dashboard cracked and screw holes. Hood damper is saggy, headliner is ripped, screw holes, and part of it comes off. Body scratches, dents, paint stains, underside has been painted. Aftermarket exhaust. Oil leak. Yeah, I mean, I think I can picture in my mind what condition that this is going to be in if I got into the car. And it's not in great condition. And the unknown mileage, I don't know. There's a lot wrong with it. As far as price, I'll say 2.2 million yen, which puts it down near the bottom of 911 prices for the pre-964 ones. I suppose we'll see. It might surprise me. On to the next one. Mitch Cowie sent in this guy. And he says, interesting color, very low mileage, and GTE engine. Shame the spoiler has been removed. Excuse me. Wow, look at the fitment of those tires. That's probably not legal in Japan. Here we go. Is this an original color? I don't know. It kind of doesn't look like it. I guess we'll find out. Let's see. Color change from red to orange pearl. Color change cars are a big no-no for me, especially an orange pearl like this, because any body damage on the car, you're not going to be able to fix that. And, you know, say what you want about color matching to a non-original color, it's possible, but you're always going to be able to notice it. And once you notice it once, you're going to notice it every time if it's your car. And for me, I just wouldn't want to put up with that. And so if I ever buy a car that's a nice car like a Supra that I'm going to want to keep for a while and be proud of, I want one that hasn't been color changed. So back bumper has paint cracks on it, otherwise the body has only few marks on it. It's a 1995 Supra RZS. The S is the small brakes version, doesn't have the Brembos. Brembos? No, the Supra doesn't have the Brembos, it just has the smaller, the big brakes. Okay, and grade R, interior C, exterior C. Wow, really low mileage, 42,605. It is a shame they've color changed it. It has aftermarket turbo, HKST 51R Kai. I'm sorry, I don't know how big that turbo is. It might be a replacement for the twins, but most likely it's a single. Usually, like a lot of people in Japan will do a replacement twin turbo setup for the Skyline GTR, but the Supra often just gets changed into a single. And I think that comes from the fact that it's like one small turbo, one big turbo setup, and that's just kind of confusing, whereas the Skyline is two turbos the same size. 2JZ GTE engine, HKS F-Con. Be careful with this. Not many people in the US know how to tune that. I mean, you can't import this to the US, but maybe in your country it's hard to find somebody to tune. And Japanese gas is really high octane, and so if you send it to another country, there's a good chance that your octane isn't good enough, and that a tuned car with an aftermarket turbo is going to need to have some sort of retuning done. And then you'd have to throw out this computer and get a new computer and do a full tune from scratch. Original automatic changed to a Getrag 6-speed manual. That's pretty cool. The Getrag 6-speed didn't come in until 1997. And so that's, I mean, that transmission itself is like $8,000, sometimes $10,000 alone. So very cool. I do like those wheels. I just kind of, I don't know if that's how I would like to have it run, because it looks like the suspension would be too stiff to be enjoyable on a day-to-day basis. But I think a lot of people would like the looks of that. Especially in person, it's going to look a lot more aggressive than it does in this photo. Okay, accident damage, R grade, interior C, exterior C. Left and right front inner panel dented and, oh, I can't read. This sort of looks like it's torn? Is that right? If that is correct, and I would have to have Naoko read that, but she's on lunch right now. If that's actually correct, then that's a big yikes. Core support replaced. Various scratches, dents, scuffs, and color change with wavy paint. And a lot of people who repaint into a metallic or a pearl paint can't get the pearl or the metallic looks to be even throughout the body. And I found a number of cars that some parts are really beautiful looking while other parts just don't have enough metallic content or enough pearl. Various scratches, dents, oh, I already said that. Rear hatch. What is this? Rear hatch spoiler has been removed. Some people prefer the looks without the spoiler. I don't know. I'm kind of a big spoiler and a Supra kind of guy. You could probably use more downforce in the rear too. I hear these are really easy to spin your rear tires. Underside surface rust, seat saggy, aftermarket steering wheel wear, and ripped aftermarket wheels. So it has some good things and some bad things. It's not too bad though. Low mileage is really nice. And 95, I'm going to guess 3.2 million yen for this car. On to the next one. We got 4 more here. We're going to go to Leslie Lee, Subaru, Impreza, STI. No comments from Leslie on this one. So we have a GC8. This looks like a version 6. You have the clear headlights there. You have the small lip along here. Different bumper from the early models. And the rear spoiler is actually different between the version 6 and the version 5. And the version 6 is a little bit more sloped in the back here. Version 6 is the final version of this car, so it's the one, and these wheels are only available in the version 6 as well. It's the final version of the GC8, and so it's the one that a lot of people want. And this car continues to be as popular as ever, even gaining in popularity after the next generation came out, and the next generation. This is kind of seen as the Impreza, the iconic Impreza, in the same way that the Mark IV Supra will always be the Supra. This is the Impreza that people think about when people say Impreza, or at least it's the one I think about. I wonder if other people think about that. Engine makes weird sounds and is shaky. Sounds like a misfire. It probably isn't a big deal, but it's going to lower the price just in case it is a big deal. And if you can't see the car ahead of time, probably not worth risking it unless you like doing engine rebuilds. I probably wouldn't do it. I wouldn't jump in for myself. I know we have customers that like to do it. Get something like this for cheap. Version 6 can often be over 1 million yen, sometimes up to 1.6 million yen. And so with this one here, let's see, 100,000 kilometers, big scratches on this side. Power steering doesn't work. Exterior has some paint peeling. Shift knob is missing, and they have a little extender piece. The extender piece is often used by people who race, and so that leads me to think it may have been driven hard. Something here has a crack in it. I can't read that. Yeah, so I think that you'd be able to get this one for pretty cheap. I think it's such a good looking car, and the version 6 is going to be the best out of all the Imprezas. They made them from 92 until 2000, so 8 years is a long product run for any car. But this is the best of them all. Price-wise, I think we'll see this one around 680,000 yen. And I think that that gives enough room that you can repair the engine and still have it under 1 million. Yeah. Okay. On to the next one. 3 more left. Raymond Liang. When the little March wanted to become his performance brother but went too far. Well, this one's called a Micra, which is a little bit weird because the name of this car in Japan is March. Micra is like the outside of Japan market name for this. So I don't know what's going on, because it is right-hand drive still. This one's the March C plus C. It was pretty limited run. I never see these on the road, and it's a hardtop convertible version of Nissan's small hatchback that competes with the Honda Fit and the Toyota Yaris or Echo or whatever else that's called. And I think it's, you know, it's kind of ugly, but also kind of cool. Kind of weird, unique. If the top breaks, a lot of hard tops break on cars and just stop working. If the hard top breaks, I think that you're going to be screwed. Interior is kind of meh. It looks like the type of plastic that when you hit it, you hear the echoes inside the dashboard that seem to reach on forever. 5-speed manual though, that's cool. Yeah, unique, interesting. Probably not worth an awful lot. It's a 2007 March C plus C 1600cc engine. Auction rate 3.5, interior B, exterior B. 96,830 kilometers on there. No sales point, no notes. Open top doesn't work. Well, I guess it's not an open top anymore. I don't know if this system is a hydraulic system or if it's like full electric with cables. A lot of them, the hardtop ones, are hydraulic systems, but I don't really know. Body looks like it's in terrible condition. Look at all those marks on it. Audio is aftermarket, steering wheel peeling, exterior paint fade and peeling. Yeah, so it doesn't look like there's a lot that makes me want to buy this car. And some people will see a translation like this and they'll think, why did this car get a 3.5? But 3.5 is, I mean, some cars in 3.5 are good and some of them are bad, but it's good to recognize that 3.5 is the lowest grade before you get into the special grades. Because a grade 3 is possibly an accident, damage, or severe problem, and a grade 2 is always a severe problem. And so grade 3.5 is kind of the lowest grade before you get to the bad ones. Price. How much do we think it'll sell for? I think with a broken top it'll scare everybody away. I think that we will see this one go for 70,000 yen. It is a shame because the 5-speed is probably super rare. I bet you most people who own these want to have it with an auto, or whoever bought them brand new, because it's kind of a girly car, and most people in Japan don't know how to drive a manual. In fact, you need a different license here if you want to drive a manual in Japan. On to the next one here from Kenneth Calloway. Such a great looking car and big pictures too. Nissan Bluebird. This is the 610 version of the Bluebird. And when I was growing up, I loved the 510. Like the Bluebird 510. Especially the boxy looks of it. This one, because I love the 510 so much, and this one is just, it's bigger and just not as, the lines just aren't as handsome, is what I thought. I used to not like these cars because I thought that they ruined the greatness of the 510, especially the sloping trunk. Doesn't give it that good boxy 80s feeling. Or I guess it's not really an 80s feeling because it's a 70s car, but the boxiness, you know what I'm talking about. But I do like the looks of it now. I think this looks really good for a 4-door. I like the fender mirrors on it. And the Bluebird name, it's fairly iconic. If you say, I drive a Bluebird, most people don't know what you're talking about, but those who do are going to be impressed. They're going to say, can I come over to your house for coffee and see your Bluebird? Okay, auction sheet here. So it is an old car. This is a 1974 Bluebird, 2000 cc, unknown mileage, probably because it's a 5-digit odometer. Yes, it is. It's an old car, so be careful, it says. And it doesn't have any recycle ticket because it was sold before the recycled ticket thing was a thing. Color changed to black. I wonder what the original color of this was. They don't say. Auction grade 3, interior D, exterior D. But when it comes to an old car like this, if you see interior D, exterior D, it might still be good for the age, even though it's not in good condition. Because the car that's this old, very likely it has dashboard cracks and seat rips and stuff. But somebody who knows about restoring cars is going to be able to pick out which things actually matter. Like a seat can be relined, but like, where's the back shot? Like this little badge thing here, if that's missing, good luck finding a new version of it. Or like if your window trim is in good condition, that's really important, much more important than, say, carpet that's ripped. Or an engine that's not running well. Because some of these pieces would be literally impossible to find for an old car. For something like this, a 1974 Bluebird, probably you can find those pieces, but as the car gets rarer, it's harder and harder to find trim pieces. Okay, oh, there's a lot here. There's rust on the roof, there's paint marks on it, there's corrosion over here and over here, there's accident damage by the looks of it. Left and right front fender has screw holes in it, left and right rear fender has screw holes. Possibly it has had over fenders on it at some point. Fender mirrors on this car, aftermarket shift knob, suspension and wheels, color changed car, exterior has slight scratches around it, underside surface rust, side mirror has paint cracks on it, interior is dirty. I don't know why I'm reading it backwards. Interior has some liner pieces missing, seat is ripped. Exterior has marks from refinishing or polishing. Front cross member has been bent up, like hit something from below, and mileage is unknown on the car. So it's a project. It's cool though. It's a good looking car, and carbureted engines always sound really nice to me, and I like the wheels on it. Price wise, 450,000 yen, maybe. We'll have to find out. I don't watch those. Next one here, Jalmari Raiplina. This I'm sorry for always mispronouncing the name. Sometimes when I start shooting these videos, my words just come out without very much filter with my brain, and so that's what happens from time to time. It is a Toyota Crown, and he says, too bad I'm not in the market for another one right now. Would have bid on this. He just bought a Celsior from us. And so the Crown and the Celsior are pretty similar cars. The Crown, Crowns come with a 2.5 liter or 4,000 cc. The Majesta is the luxury version of the Crown. I do really like Crowns, a lot of the generations of them. This one here's one I like. I don't know if I love it that much. But they're very good cars, very well built, basically built to Lexus quality. This is 28,899 kilometers, auction rate 4, interior B, exterior B, one owner car, cruise control, mirror heaters. That's interesting. Micra optional navigation on there. Full power seats. I believe that means for the rear seats too. HUD. That's kind of cool. That's the heads-up display. It'll show you how fast you're going as a reflection on the windshield. A lot of newer cars have that, and some cars in the 80s did. But then in the 90s and 2000s, there weren't really that many cars that did that. This is a 99. Rear corner sensors. Toll collection box. What is this? Height control. Air suspension. Neat. 6-disc CD. Ooh. Keyless entry. Purchased from user. Various scratches and dents, and that's basically it. Windshield rock chip, interior dirty and wear. Body looks to be pretty good with maybe one scuff up here. But yeah, the condition looks good. And this is a good car. You can own this car for a very long time. The styling of it, I think, is going to continue to look good over time. It's going to be reliable. Generally good on gas for the amount of performance that you get. It's very quiet on the highway. Very nice, soft car. It's good. Good all the way around. And prices are really, really low for these usually. This one has 28,000 kilometers, so I'm expecting the price to be a little bit higher. But in general, prices are really good. So I'm gonna pick on this one 200,000 yen. And we'll see how that sells for. And that brings us to the end. Keep in mind that we've got the second part of our contest coming up next week. And so if you're new to these videos, check us out on Facebook, and then you can win a cool box of mystery things from Japan. Thanks everybody for watching this, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.